explanation. In the last session, I talked about light, and I'll continue along with the idea of why it's so important to try to get different light sources when you're doing this art. And the main thing is because you are going to be surprised by just how the different cuts of the exacto blade reflect just like facets on a gem, on a diamond. Each one of these little facets, I'm turning the blade, if you notice, partly out of habit, but partly because I really want to I'm punching into this emulsion, okay? I'm scraping through it. I'm going into the plastic itself. And it's just like roughing a diamond, you know? So that's what you want to do. You want glints of light to scatter and create this amazing visual. Yeah, that's come along nicely. So notice with this, I leave just a tiny little thread of black. Okay, I'm gonna scratch in some prairie. So I got into Western art really because I geeked out on George Catlin and Charles Russell and Olsey Setzer. And when I was a child out in Wyoming, spending my summer vacations out there with my family, there were a lot of artists that were in the Jackson Hole area that were friends of my grandparents. People like Conrad Schwerin, who were fantastic Western artists. And I love the West. I feel still kinship with the West, even though I'm in the Midwest. And I would love to get back to living part of the year out in Wyoming, just so I could spiritually have my batteries recharged. I know that sounds crazy or silly, but it's important. You know, you have to be around, I think, to some degree. Though, you know, artists like Remington, who I really admired, Remington, who had that real life kind of look. You know, the horses were scraggly. You know, if you look at Russell's horses, they're scraggly too, but in a different way, you know. But both artists, you know, had that kind of look. Now, Remington did a lot of his art out east, you know, so it wasn't like he was, you know, sitting out there with a paper and pen. Certainly did not do what Catlin did. Catlin was more of an artist that went out into the field. And I love Catlin's work because his work is so primitive. It's not, however, if you look at his portraits of Native Americans, 1840s, he's capturing a really important time in the interaction between the Plains culture and the European culture coming in. Photographs were just starting to come out. Daguerre, you would not see that coming out onto the plains for at least another 30 years, I would say. You might get some portraits, some pictures if the chiefs came to Washington, hopefully by choice. So that's why, you know, it's important to study those early Western artists. There's a lot of contemporary Western artists out there now. Some of them are good. Some of them, you know, you just have to kind of pick what you want, you know. You know, I've seen some artist works that are almost photographic in the way they do their subjects. It's almost too good. You lose something in it. Somebody could, though, easily criticize that and say, well, you know, who are you? You're right. You know, every teach their own. You can't say that what you're seeing here is all it is just my way of hopefully reaching out and touching people's souls. So you can see there now, boy, this bison skull really coming into play. Some exciting things happening with bison in the state of Illinois and Iowa. There's this, encourage you to look up bisonbridge.org. It is this guy, I want to interview him because I just think it's fantastic. This is a young guy, 44 years old, and he has this vision of creating a 100-acre national park spanning the Mississippi with the old I-80 bridge. And turning that into, you know, the ultimate wildlife bridge, but also a museum on one half of it. On one, you know, turning like the westbound lanes into the bison bridge, and the eastbound lanes into a working museum all the way across the Mississippi River. It's a fantastic idea, and I applaud this guy and his work. And again, I tell you, go to bisonbridge.org, sign up, get on the mailing list, and let's hope it happens, because there would be something that would actually bring a lot of tourism. But I would love to see it taken a step further in the state of Illinois and try to connect between Middaywin and Nachusa grasslands you could create a bison corridor that maybe could reach all the way into Iowa. Wouldn't have to be too big. You'd tie in some of the existing parks. Wouldn't that be cool? So there you have it. There we are. I want to just focus in on this real quick so you can see what we're talking about. Just dropped my exacto knife. I want you to see that too. Be careful. Okay. Try to get it from an angle so you don't see so much of me. But as you can see, it's really taking on some life now. Fun, huh? Thank you for watching. We'll catch you on down the trail a bit.